Matt, it brings us to a segment called
CinemaWAR.
The CinemaWAR. It works like this. Me and Matt, we're fighting on a topic. Our guests, Al and Linda, get to play judge, jury, and executioner and tell the jawheads at home who they think won the CinemaWAR.
Loser gets hobbled.
No. That's scary.
Or axed.
Yeah. Actually, the winner gets 20 seconds of jaw time to rant and rave on whatever we want. It's Stephen King month here on CinemaJaw. What's the CinemaWAR topic, Phil?
Yes, today we fight over, is the original Pet Sematary a horror classic? Matt, you're going to be fighting for, yes, absolutely it's a horror classic. And Ryan, you've got no, absolutely not. Pet Sematary is not a horror classic.
Wow, this is like high school debate.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Let this roaring debate of a CinemaWAR begin.
Pet Sematary, a horror classic? It's not even Stephen King classic. You never hear it mentioned with the likes of Misery, The Shining, or Stand By Me. Pet Sematary is subpar horror and subpar King adaptation. It should not have been resurrected.
Stand By Me is not a horror movie, Ryan. And I don't often start Cinema Wars out this way, but are you out of your goddamn mind? Steve Barton of Dread Central gave it 4 out of 5 stars and called it one of the best Stephen King adaptations. And even better than that, our beloved Gene Siskel gave it 0 stars, and his movie poster quote was one word: sickening. That is probably the single greatest endorsement a horror movie can get.
Regan's head turning around, "They're here" from Poltergeist, the iconic music from Halloween. Horror classics have a moment or a scene or an element that is unforgettable. Pet Sematary has none of this. When talking about Pet Sematary, you don't ask the person what your favorite scene was, but more like, can you remember any scene from that movie?
Wow.
Because, Matt, it's forgettable.
You're wrong. And if you want to talk about a song, here's the real smoking gun. It seems very stylish right now for movies to end with Ramones songs these days. Pet Sematary did this way back in 1989, way ahead of its time. Plus, it's the only Ramones song that was written specifically for the film that it is in, and it became one of their greatest hits. That alone qualifies this movie as a classic.
To the scorecard we go. The Conjuring, 85% fresh on the tomatoes. Psycho, 97%. Rosemary's Baby, 99% fresh. These are classics. The original Pet Sematary, 50%. It's rotten, Matt. I'm not alone. It was not a good movie, let alone a horror classic.
I don't know if Tomatoes judges horror movies properly. Pet Sematary also brought Fred Gwynne's career back from the dead. Where else outside of My Cousin Vinny or the Car 54 remake can you catch a serious Fred Gwynne performance? Where, Ryan? Nowhere. But the Pet Sematary. It gave us 2 Utes.
So many great films come from Stephen King stories, but this was not one of them. I rewatched it recently and was shocked how dull it was. It was slow, poorly acted, not scary, just an overall dud. To call it a horror classic is criminal. Let's bury this argument.
Oh, man. All right, I want to leave you with this. You said there were no memorable scenes or moments. Little Miko Hughes, no relation to any other Hugheses, one of the creepiest horror kids of all times. His tiny little hands holding that scalpel, slicing people's Achilles tendons, scared the bejeebus out of me. I still get the willies every time I see a little kid holding a scalpel. Classic moments from a classic horror film. This is, of course, it is a classic, Ryan. Of course it is.
We are button heads here as we do each and every week on CinemaWAR. We throw it to our guest, our jury. What did you guys think of this CinemaWAR?
I'm still trying to get my mind around every time I see a little kid with a scalpel.
I'm glad you picked up on that. Thank you. It happens every day.
Wow. Hey, kid, can you put the scalpel down, please, just for a minute, and let's pick up the crayons? Yeah. Wow. This was a spirited conversation, to say the least. A spirited debate. You made good points about, especially the Ramones and the music stuck with me. Hey, there's something classic about that. But the fact that over the years that it has not had staying power, that the movie itself, that original, hasn't moved into the pantheon of the greats in the Stephen King songbook, leads me to say that Ryan wins.
Yes.
Do you agree? Do you concur?
I have to say that I thought that you had a lot of positive points to make about the movie, and that it really stuck with you quite a bit. I thought that Ryan had some very good arguments, but I think that I'm leaning more towards the positive side here.
Oh, this is
Are you picking Matt?
I am picking Matt.
What do we do, Ryan?
I know.
We
We
need a tiebreaker.
So yeah, this is the problem when you have a couple
Yes.
as your guests. You get so.
Hey, I could take a tie. First time ever.
All right.
I'm not happy with
Right,
the tie.
right.
I want to win, or to
We
me,
make
that's
history here.
a tie here is a loss with Matt.